Alright, so I'm going to take you to a new kind of drawing today, and we're going to create what will eventually become this, which will be the next day. But right now, we're just going to go to New, and we're going to go to this one, Standard IPM, which is Presentation. I'm going to open up a Standard IPM, and it's going to want an assembly when you open up. So you have to do this after you get your assembly. So I'm going to have to go look for my assembly, which is in my IED folder, right here. Okay, so I've got my assembly and I'm going to open it up. So I have to have an assembly. It can be tilted, whatever. I usually bring it back to the default range. Now I got a couple things going on here. I've extended my storyboard, and basically what you do in this is you make a little movie. So what we're going to do to make our movie is we're going to do components. Now I'm going to hit escape to make sure I've got nothing selected. And then I'm going to hold control, and I'm going to select everything except for the base piece. So I'm going to select everything with the base piece. There's a lot of ways to do this. You don't have to do it this way, but this is the way I like to do it. And I'm going to go to Tweak Components. Okay? And you've got all these grips, you can move them. I'm going to move them straight up in a direction. I'll start with 2 inches. And it's got the duration here for how long you want this to take. So I'm just going to say that that is fine. So I'm going to go straight up for let's say 2.5 inches straight up. Yeah, that's okay, I guess. And it takes 2.5 to get there. Under here where you have trail, it's got a full trail. You can switch it to trail segments, I don't really like that. And it could be all components, all parts, a single part, or no trail. I'm going to leave it at the default. I'm going to check that off. So if I went back to the beginning and I hit play now, it'll lift off. All of those coming off of our thing at once. If I go to the end and I play it backwards, it's like an assembly video. Shows how you put it together. So from the end here, I'm going to do some individual tweaks. So I want these pieces to actually be separated from these pieces. So I'm going to do 2 things at the same time. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lift these pieces up again. So I'm going to just tweak these. I'm just going to lift them up just above. Just above. So we'll say 1 inch above. And that took another 2.5 seconds. So I'm going to go back to 2.5 because in my movie, I will also, at the same time, am going to want to tweak each of these components so they come out about 2 inches. So that's 1. I'm going to go back to 2.5. And this is where it gets a bit time consuming. I'm going to grab 2. I'm going to tweak that component. I'm going to have this one come out this way, about 2 inches. And once again, we'll go back to 2.5. I will grab this one, tweak component, and have that one go that way, negative 2 inches. And the last one, I'm going to tweak this component, negative 2 inches. So I've got all of them tweaked. I've got this risen. Now I'm just going to move each one of these individually, and that's kind of up to you where you want to move it. And I'm not even going to worry about dimensions on this one. I'm just going to make sure everything is clear and visible when I'm moving them. So I'm going to grab all of these. Oops, that I didn't want to do. Now what I did there is I did this, and then I didn't reset. So here you can see this is the only one at this level. So now we could kind of decide, like, do we want to do this like one piece goes in at a time, or they all come together? So what I'm going to do is I am going to do the one piece comes in at a time. You could do them all coming in together, doesn't matter. Just bring that over there, that looks good. I'm going to take this one, I'm going to tweak this one, so this one's over here. You don't want it to completely cover this up because you want to be able to see all the pieces. This one, I'm going to actually do some weird jogging with this one. I'm going to have this one like come over this way, over this way, over this way. So it really gets out of the way of everything. And then this guy, I'm just going to move him back. And that'll kind of be the foundational piece. Okay. Now, if I didn't like where these were placed, that's okay. Because now what I've got is if I watch the movie backwards, you can see some of these are going glacially slow because I didn't move them very far. So I could go back in each of these movements and I could speed them up if I wanted, if I was so inclined. So you see that wasn't really crazy about how that all went back together. So there's ways you can do it that look better like these. I might group these. And delete this. And bring it back because I really didn't like what I did there, but you guys get the basic drift of the tweaking components now. So each time I do that, I got a big gap in the middle there. So if I did get something like this to happen, I could actually go and bring all of these. So they're happening at approximately the same time. If I wanted to do it all like this. So you do have the ability to come in and tweak. You also have the ability that at certain portions you could get a capture of this, which would be a picture of just how it is if you wanted to have that displayed. You don't have to, but so now if I look at this, it's going to come in with a camera view and bring it down and there. I did not like that camera view, so I'm actually going to delete it. I'm just going to watch it regular. So it's getting glacially slow. They all come together. They all come together. They all drop in together. So that is one way to do this. In the end, you're going to need this. So for the presentation, this is all you have to have done. Just get them. You can work with it. Some people like to do this, like each piece comes in individually. We do this, and then like out of nowhere, these pieces start flying in to create a real assembly. So this one would, like I said, would save the current position, so what it looks like in this position. And you can use those for an assembly file later, like if you wanted to. Look at them, like I said, I can put a capture in there, and then I could edit the amount of time or whatever. And you can add these over here. You can actually have a panel displaying them if I went to view. But I'm not going to worry about that. That is beyond what we require. So if you just get this done, you'll be good to go. And then you can save it in your puzzle folder as the assembly. And you'd say yes to all. So this is how we do a presentation file.